Hello my fellow gamer, it's Griffin here and today we'll have a look at Space Marine 2 system requirements. I'll share with you my PC specs and how it performs at 4K maximum settings. Now let's dive in. Before we begin, a very important note. This is not a sponsored video and no one paid me or gave me any type of compensation to promote the game or certain PC brands. These are my own thoughts and I hope it will help you if you're wondering how the game will run at maximum settings. Also, if you're planning to build a new PC, what to expect in terms of performance. My PC specs are: for graphic card, MSI Supreme X RTX 4090, not Super. CPU AMD Ryzen 7 7700X. For cooler, Noctua NH-D15 Chromax Black. Motherboard Asus ROG Crosshair X670E Hero. RAM Kingston Fury DDR5 32 gigs, 2 DIMMs of 16. For storage, 3 Samsung 980 Pro M.2 SSD 2 TB each. Power supply NMAX Revolution 85 Plus 1250 watts. For case, Corsair 780T full tower case with 7 120mm fans, air-cooled. Also Corsair Commander Mini for 6 independent fans control. Windows 11 Pro with latest updates. An Nvidia Studio driver 560.81, and this is the latest one at the moment of recording. As previously mentioned, the graphic card is an RTX 4090 running the game at 4K resolution. As you can see, the render resolution is set to native, and on the right side it is mentioned that for native, game renders at a display resolution without upscaling using just the temporal anti-aliasing part of the selected resolution upscale algorithm. This is the best quality option. For resolution upscaling, we have to select one of the 3 options available and we'll select DLSS, but as previously mentioned, will not impact or increase the frame rate because we selected native render resolution earlier. The motion blur is the only option turned off and the rest of the settings are either ultra or high settings, where high is the top choice. Game runs extremely smooth and there are no stutters or noticeable frame drops. In very demanding GPU moments and intense action scenes, if you would look at the values presented in the top right corner, the FPS values very rarely dip below 60 frames a second into the high 50 frames a second, but because happen for fractions of a second, it is not noticeable during gameplay. It is a very enjoyable gaming experience. Regarding temperatures, the GPU runs very stable at around 61-62 degrees Celsius, and I don't recall the GPU ever to go over 65 degrees Celsius, not just only in this game, but in any game I played so far. Also, because we run the game at 4K settings, the CPU is not under heavy load, and the temperatures for CPU are within 40 and 50 degrees Celsius. Both the GPU and the CPU are at stock values and no overclocking has been applied. The minimum system requirements mentioned on Steam to be able to run Space Marine 2 game are a 64-bit processor and operating system, Windows 10 version 1903 minimum or Windows 11 64-bit, AMD Ryzen 5 2600X or Intel Core i5 8600K. For memory, 8 gigs of RAM, graphics 6 gigs of VRAM, AMD Radeon RX 580 or Nvidia GeForce GTX 1060, DirectX version 12 and 75 gigs available storage. SSD would be required for 30 frames a second in 1080p with a low preset. The recommended system requirements mentioned on Steam to be able to run Space Marine 2 game are 64-bit processor and operating system with Windows 10 version 1903 minimum or Windows 11 64-bit, AMD Ryzen 7 5800X or Intel Core i7 12700. For memory, 16 gigs of RAM, graphics 8 gigs of VRAM, AMD Radeon RX 6800 XT or Nvidia GeForce RTX 3070, DirectX version 12, and 75 gigs available storage. Also, SSD would be required to achieve 60 frames a second in 1080p with the Ultra preset. And this concludes our look at Space Marine 2 system requirements and specs. Stay tuned for full campaign playthrough if you're interested in the gameplay and story. Also, feel free to check my review of Space Marine 2 posted few days ago on this channel. I hope you found this video useful and thank you so much for watching. All the best. Bye.